Hi and welcome back. We have today is that we're working with almonds. Now I've gone ahead and I'll show you whenever you get your almonds from the store. I'll show you what they look like in comparison to what they're going to be before you process them. Almonds are 40% of the supply for almonds is are grown in California. Since there is a large drought going on, I'm hoping that they find other places to be able to grow them, because it is actually a very versatile nut. If the almonds have problems, then it's going to be, in the meantime, about the only thing that we're going to be able to use is pecans, which is grown here in Texas, which we wouldn't mind the economy boost, but we're starting to show signs of drought as well. So this is going to be a very interesting time in our lives. But let me go ahead and show you what you can do with almonds. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. All you need to do is buy the almonds. I buy them skinned and dehydrated. You don't have to have them roasted. Now, if you can make almond butter by just grinding the nut. That's all you need is the nut. You don't need to add any oil. You don't need to add any water, salt, anything. Just the nut until it becomes almond butter, just like peanut butter. That being said, there are other things that you can do with it. You can actually create an entire meal with almonds, and I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Okay, so what you want to go ahead and do with your almonds, we're going to do a quart of almonds for this. We're going to go ahead and soak these overnight. I'm going to put them in a bowl and let soak, and hopefully in the morning we'll be able to get the skins off, because the skins will take some time. They do create like a bitterness in the product, so we want to try to get as much of the skins off as possible. So we'll see you in the morning. Okay, now that it's the next morning, you see how much water has been absorbed by the nuts. So whenever they package it up, it's already dehydrated, so you want to rehydrate everything. You also want to try to get the skins off. Now, once the nuts are hydrated, they should just fall right off. If you can't, if it's a little bit harder, you can take your fingernail and get the skin off. And discard the skins. Actually, the skins are going to go to my my herd. Now you have the option. If you have the option to buy these with the skins off, please do so. And then all you need to do is soak them, because this is going to take all morning. Okay, so whenever you buy your almonds, they're going to come with skins on. If you're lucky enough to find them without the skins on, do it. Pay the little extra, because taking the skins off of these will take hours. But you'll get them with the skins on. But they will be shelled, just like that. And you would soak it overnight. Take the skins off. And they will come either brown or white, like that. And you notice that the size difference between the two. Ah, this one broke. Hold on. See that size difference? This is hydrated. This is dehydrated. You're going to want to dehydrate your almonds for this. Okay, so after you have hydrated your almonds, we're going to go ahead and grind these up in the blender and make a mash. First recipe we're going to do is almond milk. Now, I make mine a little bit thicker because I like to use it in my coffee as a creamer. So we're going to do a 1-to-1 ratio of almonds and water. If you want it to be regular milk, it's a 1-to-2. And just let you know, this is going to get a little bit loud. All right, 1-to-1 ratio. Now that it's blended, we're going to go ahead and strain everything out. We want to keep the solids. You notice I have a gallon jug with my strainer and cheesecloth. And we're going to let that strain. And then repeat. Okay, now that we have everything ground up, I've gone ahead and hung the bag. So I have these little up here, not just to hold, things, but to attach my cheesecloth bags to there so it can drain. I have it draining into the strainer just in case something was to fall. And then I have all that almond, I'm going to call creamer because I'm doing it a little bit more thicker than regular milk. And this will last a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and let that drain for a little bit. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and finish up with what to do with this. Okay, now that we have the almond milk in here, we want to pasteurize it real quick because we don't want this to spoil. If you don't pasteurize it, you need to use this within a week. If this lasts longer than a week, then it could possibly spoil. So we're going to go ahead and bring this up to a boil, turn it off, let it cool, and then we're going to go ahead and put it in a jar. Okay, so now that we have everything nice and pasteurized and jarred up, and I'll show you what that is, we're going to go ahead and work on the hydrated almond flour. Now, you can dehydrate this If you have a dehydrator, it'd be faster, but if not, go ahead and spread this off on some cookie sheets and fluff it up every day. That way it doesn't create any mold, but eventually it will dry out depending on your environment. If you live in a desert environment, it'll dry a lot faster than it will here where it's humid, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, it's about time to turn on the air conditioning. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to make you a recipe that I adapted. Not a true recipe. This is an adaptation from what's called chaffle. Chaffle means cheddar waffle. You use cheddar cheese and egg to make a waffle in a waffle maker. And that was our only 2 ingredients. This is more like a bread. Sometimes I want a sandwich or some toast. And since I can't have anything wheat or rice or potato or corn, which is in everything these days, I make my own. And this is what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to actually put the recipe down in the description below. That way you have it and you can adapt to it. Now you can add cheese to this and make a true chaffle. But this is how I make my weekly bread. Now, just to let you know that if you buy almond flour at the store, it's already dehydrated. This is already hydrated, so it's not going to take as much liquid to be able to make this as a store-bought. So keep that in mind whenever you're making your own, because the store-bought is a lot finer and a lot drier. So we're going to add 1 cup of the almond meal. ½ teaspoon of baking powder. Not soda, powder. 2 eggs. Just 2 per cup. And you want to add oil to this. I have found that if you add oil to this, it comes right off of the waffle maker. You don't have to clean the waffle maker so much. It just lifts right off. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and add 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. Coconut oil won't hurt you. This will add to your fat content along with the eggs. And if you want to, you can add a little bit of salt. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'll go ahead and do that this time. And this will actually last me 2 days. Just this. You want to mix it up, and you kind of want to have a pancake batter type consistency. This is a little bit wet, and there's not much room for hydration because of that water. So we're going to go ahead and add more. I'm going to add another cup to this. And alter the recipe a little bit because of it being hydrated. But if you were using dehydrated, this would be the recipe. So we now have a week's worth. There we go. A little bit better. Kind of like that. See how thick it is? And I have found that the little dash waffle maker is the perfect size for a hamburger. So if I make a hamburger for lunch, I can have one patty and it fits perfectly. Why they made bread square, I have no idea. Because everything out there is pretty much round. So you want about a tablespoon per waffle. I want to call this a chaffle. I really don't, but it's an adaptation to chaffles. You're going to let this sit and cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. Check on it. If it's not done, continue. Okay, and there we have it. We've finished off that entire bowl. We have 6 pieces of bread. Now each of these breads, I calculated they should have around 2 grams of carbs in each one of them because of the additives. Or the almonds do have a little bit of carbs in them, not so much, especially if you take off the skins. And you can go ahead and put these in the freezer, put them in a Ziploc bag, 2 at a time. You typically have one for breakfast in the morning with almond butter. And if I ever want a sandwich, I'll have some. So this will actually last me the entire week. So here we have almond bread. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is make some almond butter. Now, like I said, all you have to do is grind up some almonds until it turns to butter. I'm going to do this with a blender, a stick blender. You can do this in a food processor blender, a bullet. If you have one of those, it's just going to take a little bit of time. I find this will be a little bit easier if you know it's a little bit more messy. Now, you don't want to use the hydrated almonds with this. You want the natural oils to come out of the dried almonds. And doesn't matter if they have skins on them or not for this. Okay, I actually recommend having the skins. Skins do have nutritional value to them. It has a little bit of a bitter taste. Whenever you turn this into a paste, you're not going to taste so much of that bitterness. Especially if you add a little bit of salt. I don't add anything, just almonds. Well, let's get ready. Like I said, messy. Alright, so with the existence of a dead battery and YouTube, how you can just pause everything, we've gone ahead and paused it. I've grinded some of this up to where it's a little bit easier to condense. But we're going to go ahead and continue on making the almond butter. Still messy. We'll get it. It's just going to take some time. I just think this is so neat looking. starting to clump. What this does is it heats up the oils in the nut and kind of makes that glue. And we have almond butter. It's released all of its oils to the point to where it can actually be spreadable. You can add a little bit of salt to it to taste. You can add things like cinnamon, sugar, if you want. I like just almonds because it has its own sweetness to it. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and clean this up and put it in a jar. Maybe? It's a little almond butter, people. There's still air pockets in there. I'm going to let that settle. Okay, so to wrap this up, from 1 quart of dried almonds, soaked overnight, peeled, mashed, we got almond meal for recipes. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the dehydrator overnight. We got some almond milk / cream for coffee in the morning. We got awesome almond bread. And from 1 pint of dehydrated or dehydrated almonds that you would just get out of the bag, we have about a 7-ounce jar of almond butter. I always reuse my jars, even though it says olives on it. It's not olives anymore. Alright, and hopefully you've learned something. Be able to see about what you can do with a nut. You can do the same thing with pecan or walnut. I don't recommend walnut. They get a little bit too oily in them and their carb count is a little bit higher. So almonds and pecans would be the best for this process. Hope you enjoy. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to go to bed, and we'll see you next time.